You probably wouldn't expect the most valuable athlete on the planet right now to be 40 years old, driving for Ferrari, and coming off a few tough seasons. But that's exactly what's happening, because in 2025, Lewis Hamilton was officially named the most marketable athlete in the whole world, beating Ronaldo, LeBron, and even Simone Biles. And here's the crazy part. He did it all after leaving Mercedes, not before. So how does an athlete who hasn't won a championship in years, in a sport that isn't as big compared to football or basketball, let's be honest, our sport isn't that big, how does he end up at #1 on that list? Let's break it down together, because this story says a lot about where modern sports are at right now and modern fame and where they're actually heading and what that means for our sport. What's up, guys? My name is Mars. Let's get started right away. First, we have to clear something up. When people say most valuable or most marketable, they think of highest paid. That's not what it means. It's not the same thing. Hamilton didn't suddenly overnight make more money than Ronaldo or Otani. Forbes still has him sitting around 22nd on the global earnings list. But what did he do then? Well, according to SportsPro's 50 most marketable athletes of 2025, what Hamilton did was climb to #1 in brand power, cultural influence, and commercial appeal. And that list uses 3 big factors. #1, brand strength, how much trust, recognition, and prestige your name carries. #2, total addressable market, basically how many people your brand actually reaches. And #3, economics, how profitable and sustainable that reach is. And here's the crazy thing. Hamilton hit the top on all of it, even ahead of Simone Biles and Steph Curry. And that's not a fluke. It's a result of a perfect storm, timing, legacy, and an identity that stretches way beyond the track. And yes, his Ferrari move had a lot to do with this. So think back to when the Ferrari announcement dropped. The internet broke. Hamilton leaving Mercedes wasn't just a driver change, it was like a global event, especially for us Ferrari fans, I'm not gonna lie. And whether you like it or not, when you ask somebody who doesn't watch Formula 1 to name one F1 team, most people will name Ferrari, because it's the most recognizable brand in motorsport history. Combined with that, Hamilton's personal brand, who is one of the most famous Formula 1 drivers of all time, and suddenly you've got a marketing juggernaut. Every photo, every quote, every appearance in that red racing suit gets blasted across millions of feeds, because it's a perfect combination of Hamilton and Ferrari. And within weeks of that deal being public, Ferrari's merch sales skyrocketed. We're talking some outlets reporting jumps as high as 400%. Puma said that the Ferrari collection sales went 8 times higher than normal. And that's not a rumor, that's fully confirmed from business outlets covering the Hamilton effect. And that's exactly what brands care about. They don't need you to win every single race. They don't need Hamilton to be world champion. They need you to move markets. And that's exactly what he does. Now, what's wild is how Hamilton built all of this deliberately over time. For those of us who remember, when he started, he wasn't what he is right now. He was a pure racer, and he was just laser focused on performance and winning. But over the last decade, he's evolved into something bigger. He's an icon that merges 3 things, in my opinion. He merges sport, fashion, and activism perfectly. So when he wears designer fits in the paddock, runs his own production company, and launches projects like Mission 44 for diversity and education, those are not just little details. Those matter a lot when it comes to what we're talking about, because brands don't just look at reach anymore. They look at alignment. They look at what you mean. They want someone who represents values, lifestyle, and a story that people can buy into and relate. And Hamilton gives them exactly what they want. He's British, but he drives for Ferrari's most legendary team. He races globally. He's known around the world. He speaks about social issues. He invests in startups and co-produces Hollywood films. So I know it's hard for us because we watch Formula 1, but try to keep your eyes away from that and how he's not winning races lately. Try to look at Hamilton as a name brand. He's not just selling cars, he's selling aspiration. And that can apply to any kind of product. And that's why he signed with partners like Tommy Hilfiger, Puma, IWC, Perplexity AI, and Lululemon in 2025, because he's literally touching tech, fashion, luxury, fitness, and sustainability all at once. He is the definition of the diversified brand power. But let's talk about numbers. That's what matters here. In 2025, his Ferrari contract is reported around $60 million base salary. That's not counting bonuses. If you add endorsements and performance deals to that, you're looking at roughly 80 to 100 million total earnings for the whole year. His net worth is estimated at over 500 million, making him the only active British athlete on the Sunday Times rich list. And that's some serious stuff. That's like multi-industry wealth. But here's the interesting part, because despite all of those earnings, what's really pushed him to the top of SportsPro list wasn't his paycheck, it was his impact. Ferrari's social channels became the fastest growing team accounts in Formula 1 after Hamilton signed with them. One photo of Hamilton in Ferrari's red reportedly generated about $400,000 in sponsor value in less than 24 hours. And that's the kind of ROI that makes brand managers lose their minds. So when you hear most marketable athlete, think of it as who can move culture and revenue with one post. Right now, that is exactly who you're thinking about. Lewis Hamilton. But why is it that brands can't get enough of him? That's because Hamilton brings something very few athletes have. He has a foot in every world. He's luxury, but he's relatable. He's political, but he's measured. He doesn't go too far. He's competitive, but knows how to be calm. So to sponsors, he is the perfect hybrid. He's someone who's aspirational enough with high-end brands, but authentic enough that fans trust them. And that's rare territory. Not many famous people are trustworthy at the same time as how influential they are. And Puma said this publicly, that Hamilton's Ferrari signing boosted their visibility across new lifestyle demographics. And even Perplexity AI, another tech company that he's linked to, said that his endorsement moved them into a new cultural territory because his followers actually engage. They don't just scroll. And trust me, I see this here. Every time I talk about Hamilton, a lot of people come here either hating on him or loving him. And I'm not making this video for that reason. I think it is very nice to see somebody in our sport get to the top like this, regardless of which driver. I don't take sides. But what's really interesting, in other words, is that Hamilton isn't just a billboard. He's like a gateway to these people. But in all honesty, as a Ferrari fan, I can tell you the shady stuff that Ferrari's doing. Let's not pretend that Ferrari didn't see this coming. They wanted a star like Schumacher back in the day, someone who transcends the sport, like this guy. Reports out of Italy alone claim that Hamilton's arrival added about 60 to 70 million euros in commercial revenue to Ferrari's 2025 books. And you could say, yeah, but Ferrari already sells out everything. Sure, but now they sell out faster than they did before and to new audiences. Because now they can target younger fans, fashion fans, people who don't even watch Formula 1 but know the name Lewis Hamilton, and of course, Hamilton fans. And that's exactly how you turn a racing driver into a cultural franchise. But let's pull back and look at the bigger picture here. Here's the context. Formula 1 isn't just a sport anymore, it's lifestyle marketing. Whether us fans like it or not, that's what it is. 2025 is when Formula 1 signed that 10-year Louis Vuitton partnership. That's the biggest luxury deal in the sport's history. Yes, bigger than Rolex. And it tells you everything you want to know about Formula 1 because they want to be where wealth, fashion, and culture intersect. And once again, just try to imagine who fits that mold the best. You got it. Lewis Hamilton. He's been building that brand for years. Front row at Fashion Week, vegan entrepreneurship, sustainability campaigns. Whether you're vegan or not, or you care about it or not, I'm not a vegan. He's still crafting that idea and he's very marketable. And of course, you may say, I'm not buying into it. And not everyone buys into it. You always get people who say he hasn't won in years or Verstappen is the real face of Formula 1 because he wins the most. And I would say, fair, you're not wrong. But think about what that shows. Hamilton's brand strength isn't dependent on winning anymore. He can literally not win at all like he's been recently, and he's transcended the result sheet. He is beyond that now. And I'm just telling you truths right here. I'm not a Hamilton glazer. I'm talking what he represents in the business section of the world. And that is what's wild about this, because Hamilton has essentially become Formula 1's version of what Jordan was to basketball, a brand that keeps evolving beyond the performance era. Michael Jordan hasn't been playing basketball for like 20, 30 years, and he still is that Jordan brand. So yeah, 2025 might not have given Hamilton another world title or even a win so far, but it made him the most valuable athlete on the entire planet. So let me know what you think in the comments. Do you think that he deserves that #1 spot, or has the world gone too far into branding and forgotten about winning? Thank you so much for watching. If you're new around here, you can click right here to subscribe to the channel, and I'll see you in one of these 2 videos that I created just for you right after this one. Until next time, bye.